Somewhere in the Louvre Palace, Catherine de Medici may be awake, listening to the chaos erupting in the streets below. Thousands of Huguenot Protestants are being dragged from their beds, entire families murdered. What began as targeted political killings has spiraled into uncontrolled mass violence. Historians still debate her exact role in what happened next, whether she ordered it, tried to contain it, or was swept along by forces she could no longer control. In the palace, her son King Charles IX is reportedly having a breakdown. He's 22 years old. Catherine is 53. She's survived 3 decades of French court politics as a foreign-born woman with no legitimate claim to the throne. She's buried 1 husband and 1 son already. And now she faces the consequences of decisions made in desperation, decisions that will define her reputation for centuries. History will call her the Black Widow of France, a poisoner, a murderer, the woman who orchestrated religious genocide. But how much of that reputation is evidence and how much is propaganda? Catherine de Medici is 14 years old. She's an orphan, both parents dead before she could remember them. Her family, the Medicis, are powerful Italian bankers, but in France, that means nothing. She's not royalty, she's not even French. When she arrives at the French court to marry Prince Henri, the whispers start immediately, the merchant's daughter. Her new husband doesn't bother hiding his contempt. He's in love with someone else, Diane de Poitiers, a woman 20 years older than Catherine who holds extraordinary influence at court. Diane sits at Henry's side during state dinners. She wears his colours. She receives lands, titles and jewels that should belong to Catherine. And Catherine? Catherine sits in the corner and learns to watch. But Catherine faces a structural crisis. She needs to produce an heir. If she doesn't get pregnant, the marriage can be annulled. She'll be sent back to Italy in disgrace. And in Renaissance politics, where royal marriages are diplomatic contracts, a discarded wife has no protection. 1 year passes, no pregnancy, 2 years, 5, 10. Catherine tries everything within Renaissance medical practice. She consults physicians. She also consults astrologers, standard practice for Renaissance nobility. One of them is Michel de Nostradame, known as Nostradamus, who will remain connected to her court for decades. The court watches. Diane de Poitiers, still in control of Henri's affections, reportedly suggests perhaps it's time for a new wife. And then, after 10 years of uncertainty, Catherine gives birth to her first child in 1543, then another and another, 10 children in 13 years. A remarkable biological achievement that finally secures her position at court. But Henri still doesn't love her. He never will. Diane de Poitiers remains his public companion in everything but name. Catherine learns something during those years of public humiliation. Power doesn't come from being loved. It comes from being necessary. June 30th, 1559. Everything changes in seconds. King Henri II is jousting in a tournament, a celebration, a spectacle. According to some accounts, Catherine begged him not to compete, though we cannot verify this. The lance strikes. A wooden splinter pierces through his helmet, through his eye, into his brain. He survives for 11 days in agony. Then he dies. Now she's the power behind her 15-year-old son, Francois II. But he's sickly. He dies within a year, and immediately poison is suspected, though no evidence supports this. Her second son, 10-year-old Charles IX, takes the throne. Catherine becomes Regent of France, governing in his name. But France is fracturing. Catholics versus Protestants. The wars of religion have begun, and violence spreads across the kingdom. Catherine tries every available strategy: political marriages, tolerance edicts, peace negotiations. She places her children strategically across Europe's royal houses, building diplomatic networks. Nothing holds. The religious violence keeps escalating. Catherine builds intelligence networks. a necessity for any Renaissance ruler navigating conspiracy and civil war. Later accusations will claim she maintained a so-called flying squadron of noblewomen used for espionage and seduction. How much is truth and how much is misogynistic propaganda remains debated. She does consult astrologers regularly, standard Renaissance practice. Her chambers contain elaborate perfume and cosmetic collections. Enemies will later claim these contained poisons. Catherine never addresses the rumors directly. She's holding a fragmenting kingdom together through negotiation, surveillance, and strategic marriages. But with every decision, her reputation darkens. The Italian sorceress, the poisoner queen. In a political culture that views female authority with suspicion, every tool she uses is reinterpreted through a sinister lens. By 1572, Catherine faces a structural threat. Admiral Coligny, the Protestant military leader, has gained significant influence over King Charles IX. Catherine watches her ability to govern through her son eroding. In Regent politics, losing access to the king means losing power entirely, and political irrelevance in this environment could mean death. An assassination attempt on Coligny fails. The gunman wounds him but doesn't kill him. Now, Protestant nobles flood into Paris for a royal wedding, furious and demanding justice. The political situation destabilizes rapidly. Catholic leadership, including Catherine, faces a potential Protestant uprising in the capital. What happens next remains one of history's most contested questions. Did Catherine order a preemptive strike against Protestant leadership? Was the plan limited to a handful of political targets before it spiraled out of control? Did she participate in a collective decision made by Catholic leadership? Or was she trying unsuccessfully to contain violence she couldn't stop? The historical sources contradict each other, written by participants with opposing agendas. We may never have complete certainty, but we know what happened. On August 24th, 1572, church bells ring at dawn. It's the signal. Catholic militias and mobs pour into the streets. Approximately 3,000 people are killed in Paris over several days. The violence spreads to other French cities. Estimates range from 10,000 to 30,000 dead across the country. The rivers run red, and somewhere in the Louvre, Catherine faces the consequences. King Charles IX, according to contemporary accounts, suffers severe psychological distress after the massacre. He dies 2 years later at 23, officially from tuberculosis, though some sources describe mental and physical collapse. Catherine has now buried a husband and 2 sons. Her third son, Henri III, becomes king. He's reportedly her favorite, but France is now ungovernable. The religious wars continue for another 15 years. Catherine spends her final years traveling across the country, negotiating treaties that collapse within weeks, attempting to hold together a kingdom fracturing beyond repair. She dies in January 1589 of pleurisy. She's 69 years old. She's outlived most of her 10 children. France is too consumed by civil war to give her a significant state funeral. 7 months later, Henri III is assassinated. The Valois dynasty, everything Catherine fought to preserve, ends. History has remembered Catherine de Medici as the Black Widow, the poisoner, the architect of mass murder. The accusations became her legacy, repeated in plays, novels, histories for centuries. What do you think? Was Catherine de Medici a Black Widow or a survivor? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories about history's most misunderstood figures, subscribe and hit the bell. I'll see you in the next one.